Wait,
Oh,
there's something on my face.
oh. Hey guys, what's going on? We're doing this. We're doing this live, guys. Thank you for stopping in.
For some reason, that reminds me of. Have you ever seen
Yes.
Bicentennial Man with Robin
Oh,
Williams?
it's such a good show. Yeah.
Where his face comes open and he sees himself in the mirror and he's like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Guys, welcome to episode 50. I'm glad you can join us. This is going to be another great week. We're going to be talking about Terminator Zero towards the end of the show. We're going to start with our gaming moments of the week. We're going to talk about our gaming news, get some gaming deals. We got a lot of great stuff coming up to y'all. Josh, you want to break us into the GG Rated intro?
What do you want me to say?
That's good enough. That's good.
We are GG Rated. We go over tech, gaming, movies, and news, and other things. And today we're going to go over our gaming moment of the week, which is our favorite gaming moment from this past week that we played. We're also going to go over gaming news. We're also going to go over gaming deals. And then we're going to go into our main topic of the Terminator Zero anime review. So
let's get
tuned. Let's get it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, welcome to GG Rated. We hope you enjoy the show. Now here are the hosts.
All right. Great. What you got for us for gaming moment of the week, man? I do want to throw this out there to y'all real quick, guys. If you would like to be featured on the gaming moment of the week, if you play some games this week, chilled, relaxed, chillaxed, I don't know, make sure you send us to GGratedChannel@gmail.com, GGratedChannel@gmail.com, or leave us a comment down below on YouTube. Great. What you got, man?
My gaming moment for this past week actually happened to me last night. I was laying in bed. So let me first go to a few hours before this happened. I was in bed, and I could not sleep. And that was because I had eaten a 20-ounce steak and some rolls and baked potato. I downed 20 ounces of steak, and then I had a smoothie afterwards. Needless to say, I was stuffed and got home and stuff. Napped on the couch, eventually went to bed, and still it was like the steak was just running through my veins. I was like, I can't sleep. So I got up and I got on the computer and I started listening to a podcast and playing the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta, and didn't stay on there long because it was like, And I logged on to an old favorite, Call of Duty Modern Warfare from, what was it, like 2018 or something that it came out. Type. That, from as far as the recent Call of Duties, that one is my favorite. I love that game engine. I love how that game plays. It's really, really good. And they
haven't topped out since then, by the way. They haven't.
No. So I was playing that, and I was trying to get gold on a gun. So there was a challenge I had to do where you have to like post up on a wall. Like you can like stick your gun onto things and kind of post up. And there was one level where I was posted up trying to get kills that way, and they just kept running down the alleyway. And I was just like over and over. It was great, and I was like, this is a Call of Duty that I know and love. So that was my game.
Absolutely.
I played for like an hour and a half until I got sleepy, and then I was like, great. I went to bed and I went right to sleep after I had been burping and farting while I was sitting there playing Call of Duty. I was finally able to go to sleep. So that was my gaming moment of the week.
I don't know if anybody caught that because for some reason it did not have you on the stream chat for that. And luckily Raven was able to tell us all that. But I do have it recorded on my end, but it's probably not going to be on the live. So guys, that was live. If you want to give a very condensed version just to kind of go back over it very quickly for everybody that's live, that would be great, man.
Sure.
So sorry about that, guys. Like I said, we're working on this,
We're working on it. Yeah, so I'll just kind of condense it down. If you want to hear the full version, go back and listen to the podcast. But
absolutely.
I was in bed. I ate too much steak. I got up out of bed, decided to play a game. It was Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I played, posted up in an alleyway, and took down lots of baddies until I was able to expel all the gas from my system from all
Yeah.
the protein I ate, and then I was able to go to bed. So it was a fun time. That was a condensed version.
Dude, that's pretty good, man, to do condensed like that. So
thanks.
apparently we did it on one of the scenes. We had you set up, Josh, to where the people could hear you. And then on the other scenes, it's like you were just marked off. So you're sitting there.
Okay.
So everybody probably heard you sitting there. But hey, that's live. That's in the past. So if you visit our YouTube channel, guys, you can see a nice edited version, maybe some gameplay overthrown there with Gray actually talking very clearly. So y'all make sure y'all check out our channel. You like how I did that, right?
I like it.
Yeah. But no, man, I have to agree with you just real quick, just kind of touching on the Call of Duty aspect is I feel like that's where it peaked at. And if people don't know this yet, they did announce when they announced Black Ops, was it 6? Is it 6?
Yeah, Black Ops 6.
Yeah. They announced that on Call of Duty Warzone, they were bringing back Verdansk at the first of the year. So Verdansk is coming back finally. I think that's the thing I'm most excited about. So a little bit of news for you, you know. Hey,
and the good news just
keeps on coming, baby.
It just keeps on coming. I love that.
But that was a great gaming moment, man. I'm glad you had fun with that.
Yes, sir.
As far as mine, I didn't really have anything. Like I told you, I've been kind of on call, kind of working a little bit. I played a little bit of NCAA. I think I played like one game last night of NCAA, and that's been about it, man. I haven't had too much gaming moves. I know I played a little bit of Hades on my Steam Deck, but nothing that kind of just stood out because I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to jump on. So I'm kind of glad I'm here with you right now doing this podcast, maybe game a little bit afterwards, you know, and have a little fun, you know.
That's right.
So with that, let's just kind of jump into, if you don't mind, let's just go ahead and jump into the gaming news and deals and get them some good deals coming their way and maybe some good news I got coming their way as well.
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right, so let's go into the gaming news just real quick, and then Gray is going to throw to y'all an excellent deal on a game that y'all need to pick up. I'm going to go ahead and throw out there to y'all is Astrobot was actually released this week. It is an awesome game. I'm kind of playing some of the audio from it right now, but it has got the highest ratings since like a Mario game and stuff. So it's actually doing pretty good. This is like the first gameplay that they have of it. Just kind of show a few minutes of it.
This was kind of a showcase that came with the PlayStation 5, right? And then they turned this into a game.
Yes, because people loved it so much, but it has like all kinds of different characters on it. See that controller? They actually released a controller of this. Like,
cool.
You can actually buy a controller just like this, and it's sold out. Like, it's hard to get right now.
Really?
This game has been really great. This ain't really kind of for the gaming news, but I want to let y'all know, hey, for $60, it's not a full price game of $70, but it's only on the PlayStation 5. So if you have it, make sure you snatch this game up. It was rated like a 94 in IGN, which is the highest rated platform gamer for the PlayStation.
Nice.
For this generation, and I'm hoping, I just want to throw this out here, I'm hoping so many people's having fun with this, just being a video game is what they're calling it, that maybe they'll make more of these kind of games, you know. I feel like we're missing a lot of these games that we got used to back in the PlayStation 2 time, or the PlayStation. All these, you know, everything's always adult and all this kind of stuff, so I feel like games like this are fun for the family, fun for the kids, fun for you, and it kind of brings back that nostalgia a little bit. So hopefully they keep doing this. Pickup is called Astrobot, guys. Released only on the PlayStation 5, maybe later on Steam in the future, but definitely pick this thing up.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I like it.
So,
and the good news just keeps coming.
this is not good news, guys. This is not good news. What we got here, we got Concord. It was also released on PlayStation at the same time that Astrobot was just a phenomenal success. We had a disastrous outcome with Concord. Concord apparently was ripped from store shelves. If you bought it physically, you can return it back to GameStop or wherever you bought it. They will give you a full refund. Concord was, you can actually ask for a refund now. They will give you a full refund if you bought it digitally as well. It was not a big success. It was actually astronomical. I mean, it was a failure. There was no way to put it. I think they might have reached maybe 1,000 something at the max players on PC and stuff. Is terrible. So
like what confuses me is why they didn't make this like a free to play game that you just bought stuff on.
Well, that was the biggest thing.
That this would be a good idea to make like a full price game. You know,
yeah, and I think that was the biggest hang up, Josh, is why do they not do this? It's not anything new. That was the whole problem with this game from the get-go. It's a hero shooter, first-person shooter game, guys, and there was nothing new with this game. They could have they really was talking about, a lot of people was talking to them about, hey, why haven't you made like your own characters, all your internet, you know, your properties that you have, right? Use those properties in this game instead of these new heroes. Like put some of your own characters in there. And Sony responded and said, we don't really have that many IP characters.
What?
They do. People started to make fun of them in reference to it. But hey, they rebutted that. And I think what they was talking about is Sony in general. If you think about it, Spider-Man's been holding them up in the theater kind of aspect. You think about that, they don't really have anything outside the video game territory.
Yeah,
they kind of hold them up. You see, think about that for a second. You have Last of Us and Spider-Man.
Well, I'm just thinking about some of the OGs from back in the day. You know, you had like God of War. You know, you have Nathan Drake, which I guess those are out on everything now, though. But
yeah, you had all different kinds of people. You know, all different kind of games. You can go on and on about it, but
Solid Snake that used to only be on PlayStation. I mean, there was a bunch that used to only be on PlayStation, but that's still
Konami though. Metal Gear. But what I want to get at with this is they ripped it off. People are suspecting that they're going to bring it back later as a single player or either a free to play game. I don't think they just get rid of it completely at some point. I think they're bringing it back and they're going to do something else to it. Here's the deal, though. They actually made a show. There's a show coming up with a bunch of. We talked about this. That's going to be on Amazon in reference to like God of War, like reimagined, and all this like these video games that's going to be like a live action kind of. It's from robots, Love and Robots or something kind of like that. Well, they already made the show for Concord. It's done. It's finished. And everybody was asking, are you ripping the show from Amazon if it's finished? And Sony has stated no. They are going to let it run. So you got this game that's been pulled away, right? And they're still going to be showing it on Amazon on this release series. So it's going to be kind of awkward, I feel like. Hey, it might gain some more popularity because it's now gone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wasn't there some other controversy with it too? Like something to do with like gender pronouns and stuff like that. Like I didn't ever get into it, so I didn't get kind of caught up in it. But it seems like
look into that.
People
I didn't hear anything about that. I just know it's just everybody's known it's going to be a failure the whole time, and they're actually kind of shocked that within a month they took back the game. So that's never happened before on Sony's side. But let's go into the gaming deals, man. What you got for them?
And the good news just keeps coming.
It just keeps coming. So, in honor of Terminator Zero coming out on Netflix, I was looking at a game that's on. It has its historical low right now. It's only $9.99 for Terminator Resistance. This isn't a game that I've actually played yet, but it's a game that I want to. You know, you're fighting Terminators. You're part of the Resistance, trying to defend mankind from the evil AI Skynet in Terminator Resistance. It looks like this particular sale on Steam ends in 14 hours, so this might be one that I pick up. That is my first pick. There's also another game that I actually did buy. It's called Cyberhook. You speed through a gorgeous retro wave world using parkour skills and grappling hook to scale and ride walls in this fast-paced 3D platformer. You blast enemies, manipulate time, and abuse physics to avoid falling to your death. This is a game. So I just came off of playing Neon White, which was like kind of Mirror's Edge, parkour, speed running, trying to time everything right with guns and explosions and stuff to get through the map as fast as possible. This game called Cyberhook is in the same vein as that. I can't get enough of these games right now. I'm just in that mode. Yeah, so I purchased this game. It's 80% off. It's only $2.99. There's no way I would have paid $15 to get this game, but
it's
for
actually
$3.
a demo, guys. I'm looking at it now. If you're watching on our YouTube
fun.
right now live, you can actually see there's actually a demo out for this game that you can download for free and give it a good try.
Yeah,
if not,
and
like Gray say, it's 80% off for $2.99. Can't beat it.
And what's really cool, like I said, it is in the same vein as Neon White, but very different because as you run and stuff, you kind of like build up speed and you can swing and you have to time everything right so that you keep your momentum and get through the whole map. And there's more than one way to get through the map depending on when you jump and all that stuff. You do a double jump, you have a grappling hook. You can also slow down time so that you can do moves, I guess, and like time your skills so that you shoot the right point with your hook. I haven't gotten into it that far, but really have been enjoying it. And for $3, it is quite the steal. And there was one more, and of course, we're looking on GG.deals for all of our Steam deals here. And there's one more I was looking at. I'm trying to find it. I think I was looking at Assassin's Creed Origins is actually 85% off. It's usually a $60 game, and right now it is on sale for $8.99. And this is supposedly one of the best Assassin's Creed games there is. I guess it's in ancient Egypt time. There's giant pyramids and stuff, and I was really into the Assassin's Creed game. No, heck no. And I was really huge into these Assassin's Creed games back in the day, and still do enjoy them. This might be one that I pick up. Maybe it's on sale, like I said, for around $8, and it's a hot deal right now. So those are my gaming picks for this week of 9/8/2024. These are subject to change depending on when you're hearing this. So.
Absolutely, and it will be released a podcast on audio platforms as well on Tuesdays and YouTube on Tuesday as well. Is this the Assassin's Creed that they like the newest one that they released? That they tried to go back to the OG times, like what you originally did, or no?
So the OG times are like Ezio and stuff, and that's
No, I mean not. Okay, I need to correct myself. Not timeline, but as far as like climbing buildings and parkour, kind of like the old style kind of Assassin's Creed before they went to the open world aspect. Is this more like a linear Assassin's Creed?
I'm not sure. I think it's still kind of open world.
Oh, it says release date 2017. So this ain't the newest one.
No, this isn't the newest one, but I think it's one of the. I might be thinking of another one that's
rating on Steam.
Supposed and yeah, okay. So if it's a very positive rating, it's probably one of the good ones, because if it's not, they would just crucify this game on Steam. They
would. Steam people do not hold back when it comes to how they feel about a game. I mean, look at Helldivers right now. Let's not talk about that.
Let's look at Black Flag, because I don't think it was liked. It's very positive. Okay, so maybe Black Flag is kind of turned around. I think it was and it looks very like possible. All the Assassin's Creed games are on sale. So
there you go. You can actually do a package deal for 70% off right now.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of them are positive. So if there was any folks that were upset at them, maybe they fixed it.
Black Flag is the best one to me. I had that in a combo on the Switch. It was a combo game, dude, on the Switch, and I played because this is the one where you can actually get in the ship. And you can actually battle other ships in the water, in the ocean. Yeah. And dude, they actually based the Skull and Bones They try to replicate this, but the driving and the navigation is not even close as good as like this.
Right.
So that's why Skull and Bones is such a failure. But they try to replicate this whole thing because everybody has so much fun getting in the ships and driving everywhere in this game. So Black Flag is definitely a fun game to pick up.
The last one that I think I played and beat all the way through was the one where you play as an Indian, who's also an assassin. And there's one particular scene that I remember, dude, where you're up in the trees and you attack. I think it's like the British or something, or like walking through, and you jump out of the tree and just murk everybody, and it was awesome. But that's like the last one I really got into. Where
those games are always fun, man. I'm telling you,
yeah.
They're really great on the handheld. So if you do have a Steam Deck, make sure you grab that up, man.
There you go.
It's a great game to just play on the go. So that's going to be your gaming news. That's going to be your gaming deal. I think now it's time to go into the main section and talk about the new anime Terminator Zero.
Let's go. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum.
So I just want to say this before we get into I gotta say this before we get into it, Gray, is if everybody does not know, Gray really like this is one of his favorite franchises is Terminator.
It really is.
It's what I've learned over the past week. When Gray was like, "Hey, let's do it," I kind of convinced him to do Terminator Zero. He's kind of had mixed reactions. He'll kind of talk about that a little bit. Yeah. But just to kind of give y'all a background story with this is he's been a huge Terminator 2 fan all the way through. So he's kind of taken that perspective in reference to Terminator 2 into this anime where I'm kind of taking more of this perspective because I mean, it's been decades since I've watched Terminator 2. I'll just be honest. So I don't know too much about I'm not too much into the franchise, but I know about everybody's watched it. If you have not watched Terminator 2 and the Terminator series, something's wrong with you. Get out the door. Well, don't get out the door. Turn on the TV and watch it. Everybody should watch it, but I'm going to take more of a fresh take. And then Gray, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to kind of give the take of your emotions on how you feel in total with the whole franchise, the direction they're taking with this, right?
Yeah. Yes. And just to like rate kind of where I am on the scale of how I enjoy the Terminator movies, Terminator 2 is my absolute favorite. To me, that is peak Terminator cinema. And then it goes peak, and then it goes Terminator 2. It goes Terminator Salvation, which I love that one too. I thought it was really, really good. And then it goes to Terminator 1, which is the OG. That they were able to do a lot on that one, a lot of guerrilla filmmaking, and they made a classic that they were able to build off of with a really cool story. Also a confusing story because he went back in time and also created the man that sent him from that time by having a son, John Connor. It's really confusing and it's really wild. And that's Terminator. Like when they deal with time and timeline and all that stuff, it gets really confusing, but it's cool though. And then after that one is Terminator Genesis. I actually really enjoyed. I know some people will probably poo-poo on that, but I thought it was really fun and a really good movie. And then you have all of the other ones, which I could kind of,
See, I told you guys, he knows all about the Terminator. Like that's his thing.
Here's the thing about Terminator is every new movie that comes out, they'll have something in the movie that's really, really cool. And it's like, whoa. And then they'll make some really, really stupid choices with the story. Like, I think the last Terminator movie, you had the girl that came from back in time that she's like been augmented to be half Terminator. And she's there to help, and I thought that was really cool.
Well, let me zone you in here a little bit. Are you talking about Terminator Zero right now?
No. Let me just get this. Let me just get this through really, really quick. This is just an example that I'm going to lead back into Terminator Zero. So the last Terminator that came out, which brought back Sarah Connor and all of that stuff, there was a lady that was sent from back in time who was augmented with extra abilities. She was kind of robotic and stuff. And that part of the story was really cool. And then they made some weird decisions with who was going to be the eventual leader in that movie with no military background did not make any sense at all. So what I'm trying to say is every movie has a really cool aspect to it, and they don't execute on all the plot points and the story points. It kind of falls apart. And
Okay.
I kind of feel kind of the same way with Terminator Zero. It had some really cool parts in it, but to me, it doesn't all come together like it did in Terminator 2. They wrapped everything up so well. And
Okay.
maybe Terminator Zero will get better in that aspect, but we're going to go into it with what we think about it. And, hopefully they're going to have more of them and they can kind of clean some stuff up. But that's just kind of my short introduction on how I feel about Terminator.
Okay.
I like it a lot, but I'm always coming from, that OG T2 perspective. So,
Well, you sold yourself into it. You like really invested into that storyline.
mhm.
So it's kind of hard to kind of accept something else when somebody does a bigger twist on it, I feel like. And I think that's
Sure.
where we land at with Terminator Zero at this point is I feel like the basis of it is Terminator, right? But it's got a little bit more of a twist to it, I feel like this time.
Oh yeah,
which
definitely.
we'll kind of get into. So
Mhm.
with that being said, do you want to get into it?
Let's get into it. So, what I figure we can do here is kind of like, kind of break down what Terminator Zero is and some of the key plot points, and then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we'll go into some other stuff. But
Okay.
Terminator Zero is a new anime series on Netflix that brings a fresh take to the Terminator franchise, produced by Productions IG, known for Ghost in the Shell, and directed
told
by Masashi Kudo. The show dives deep into philosophical themes around AI, humanity, and survival. The story expands on the familiar Skynet plot, focusing on Kokoro, a new AI developed in Japan, which questions whether humanity is worth saving. The key plot points is Malcolm Lee, a genius programmer, is haunted by apocalyptic visions and develops an AI hoping to save humanity from destruction. Kokoro, Japan's counterpart to Skynet, must decide if humanity deserves survival or extinction, introducing deeper philosophical questions about our species' impact on the world. The anime also features Aiko, a time-traveling resistance fighter from a post-apocalyptic 2022 sent back to stop Malcolm from launching Kokoro. And, the visuals and the voice acting are really good, but they do occasionally suffer from inconsistent CGI. However, the voice cast, including Timothy Oliphant, which I didn't know that, and Rosario Dawson, shines in the English dub, adding depth to the characters. The anime balances traditional Terminator action with more introspective, chilling moments. This unique fusion of Japanese cultural elements with the Terminator storyline gives the anime a fresh perspective, making it a standout entry in the franchise. It's perfect for both Terminator fans and anime lovers looking for a deep philosophical sci-fi. I wouldn't necessarily call it deep, but
Well, I don't
we'll
know.
get
I
into
kinda
that.
I think the opposite on that, man.
Okay,
I
okay.
really do because it even mentioned Ghost in the Shell. I'm just saying, and we got into it pretty. You saw how deep I got into it with Ghost in the Shell. The way I thought
Well,
about
Ghost
it.
in a Shell, I think, deserves it more. With what they were able to do with that,
Because it has the history. But Terminator is now what 40 years old.
Oh yeah, it's old, but see, one of the things that gets me about this series is they basically took the story from Terminator 1 and they made it in Japan, and they made the characters slightly less interesting. Is what it comes down to for me. There was a bunch of plot points and stuff that to me didn't really fit, but we're gonna get into it. So here's the breakdown of the main story points from Terminator Zero. The rise of Kokoro, which is the AI. Kokoro is Japan's answer to Skynet, an advanced AI that could determine humanity's fate. Kokoro is designed with the power to either protect or annihilate humans. Its role introduces deeper philosophical questions about the value of human life, paralleling Skynet's purpose but with more complexity. And the creator of Kokoro is Malcolm Lee. which
Which is a main character.
which
of
is
all this.
a main character who you meet in the beginning of the series, who's having dreams about Judgment Day, and those parts in particular harken to me a lot like Terminator 2, which that part I did like. He's like having a dream that he's holding his child, and then a nuclear warhead hits, and the flesh is stripped from his bones, except his
While
eyeballs.
holding his kids.
While holding his
Yeah.
kids, it was visceral, and it was like, wow, like he's really not having a good dream right now.
No.
So basically it came down to he's creating this AI to combat Skynet, which he knows when it's going to come online. And basically you spend a lot of the series with him trying to convince this AI that humans are worth saving. And, that whole thing to me has been so played out with like humans are destroying the earth, they're not worth saving, this and that. And I'm like, come on, that is so tired. That whole thing to me is so tired. But I want to hear what you think about it.
So I'm kind of going to go into the whole Kokoro aspect, because the Kokoro aspect of it is he's trying to create this thing. You come to find out that he's trying to create this thing. I know it kind of goes to the end. I'm kind of spoiling a little bit here, but he's trying to create this thing to combat Skynet, right? Skynet's bad. We all know with the original Terminator story, Skynet's bad. And I think what he's ultimately trying to do this for is what we always want to do. We do anything. That's the human nature of it, is to save your family. And he's having these dreams. Without these dreams, he won't understand that this is happening. But guess who's in his dreams? His family, his kids are in the dreams, and they're getting blown away just like he is. So this is the driving force, I feel like, for this. Now, there's a little twist on it, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before the show the other day about a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense, right? In reference to the timelines. We'll kind of go into that. I'm sure you're going to bring up later in the show. But the timelines, just to kind of tell you a little bit about it, it just doesn't line up, because they say at one point that if you go back in time, it's not going to affect the time that you left. It's going to be a whole separate timeline, right? Because time travel is something that's involved in this. So the answer to your question, when you talk about, is it something that you really like? Is it? How do you feel about this show? I feel like they try to get there, and I kind of get where they're getting at. But so I don't front them on that. I don't get mad at them for that, because I understand where they're trying to get to. I just feel like they could have went about it a little bit more, and they could. I don't know how they don't see these holes, these gaps in the stories. Yeah. Maybe season 2 will cover those holes, and it'll come together, kind of like a Marvel universe. Sometimes you have questions, and you're like, "What?" And then later on, they fix them, and it's like, "Oh, I get it."
Yeah,
now, right.
Maybe so, because I really wish they would have like stuck with one story point and kind of developed it more. Like let's take Aiko for example. Aiko is a resistance fighter from a future ravaged by Judgment Day. Travels back in time to stop Malcolm from unleashing Kokoro. Her mission is crucial, as she believes the AI will doom humanity if it goes online. Like that's what's confusing too, is like, how does she even know that Kokoro is a thing yet if it's a different timeline than what she's going back to? And wouldn't she know that Kokoro, actually stopped Judgment Day from happening?
Yeah.
So it's like, why is she even going back to try to prevent this? And the whole thing with her too is like, at the beginning of the show, she's fighting a Terminator that has just torn through dozens of people. And, it's a really cool action scene where she's kind of fighting this thing. She ends up on a bridge that explodes, and she's on this rope, and she's swinging around. And, there's a lot of fantastical, like anime bullcrap happening in it. And it is really cool, but to me, not as believable, because
She's
This
human.
this isn't some CrossFit chick. Like, she's not big and buff. She's this tiny girl.
Wait, are you saying? Hold up. Let me fix my mic.
Uh
Hang on.
huh.
Are you telling? Did you just say CrossFit chick? So are you telling
Yeah.
me a
So
CrossFit chick? Hold up.
I
You
think,
telling
yeah.
me a CrossFit chick can jump off a car while falling off the bridge, 50 foot in the air, grab onto the bridge, and then flip onto it?
That would have been more believable than a starving woman from the future who
Starving woman.
lives off of rats and stuff.
That's
Like,
beat
they
up.
literally are. Yeah, they are literally like living underground, eating rats to survive. And you're telling me that she has this athletic prowess?
I bet you it's in this trailer at one point. Where? There it is. Look, here it is right here in this trailer. Right here when she does it. Watch this clip, guys, and tell me what you think. This is a human person. Here, this person is the Terminator in the vest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Knocks off the bridge. Here she goes, jumping on top, and jumps 50 foot onto the bridge.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And this,
So
that's the lady.
I wish they would have made her enhanced or something. Gave her like robot legs, did something to make that make more sense, because she does some things in this that's like, whoa. And also, while being like, she took an arrow in the leg. I think she was shot. She might have been stabbed and was still able to do all this stuff. To me, it just wasn't very believable. And like, it's not because she's a woman. It's because she's just tiny. She doesn't look like she could do all this stuff.
No.
And,
I agree with you on that one. I will give you that one.
Yeah, it would have been the same thing if it was some like small dude. Like, what? Who is this guy? Like, how were they trained? To me, it made more sense if they would have had like an advanced military like they did on Terminator Salvation. You know, these are a bunch of hardcore trained people who actually have some sort of infrastructure to fight the machines. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't think that any particular storyline in this mini storylines was particularly well developed. You know, it still made for a cohesive story, but not one that really grabbed me as being something special.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I just want to kind of off of that, talking about having it special and all, but what exactly? You had 8 episodes total on Netflix.
Yeah,
they adopted this 8 episodes. I think there's going to be another season. I'll just be honest.
There's got to be.
There's got to be. I think it's going to be successful.
And you're left with a cliffhanger too at the end. You kind of find out some more story points, which we're going to get into. Of like, okay, there's more to this than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Autobots roll out.
IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. And I think that's a fair.
I think it is
review.
Fair too,
because they got some, like I said, some story points. But just to kind of hit on what you're talking about with her, is I think that was a distraction on a lot of the story. Is because, you know, her abilities and all was just far fetched. I'm thinking the whole time that she's partial android the whole time on this show, and she's just a human. And it shows at the end too, whenever, you know, she gets her hand smashed. But we won't go into that. But what you got? What's your next section?
So another key point of the storyline is philosophical dilemmas. A key theme throughout the series is the ethical debate between Kokoro's view of humanity and Skynet's. Kokoro debates whether humans are worth saving, highlighting mankind's destructive tendencies through history, including references to real-life events like Hiroshima. So, you know, that's something that they play back and forth with between the AI that Malcolm made. And then you also have on the other side, you have the Prophet's influence, which the Prophet is a mysterious leader in the post-apocalyptic future who guides the human resistance. She serves as a mentor figure, helping humans navigate the dark future ahead, adding a spiritual layer to the fight against machines. And she's the one that explains, you know, all about the new timelines and about there's no fate kind of set. And
I
she
never really
she didn't
understood her too much.
I didn't either. And
Okay.
one thing that was funny is like she was another one that would say random like cuss words at when it didn't make sense. She was like, "It isn't your effing fate," and I'm like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Or she
You
said
know-
something like that. And there was another time where the babysitter gets in the car and she's like, "Put your
She's
effing
like,
seatbelt on."
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Dang." Yeah,
I have to say though, I have to say, Josh, you told me that, and I was like, okay, that's kind of random that he said that. I haven't noticed. And as I got to watching the show, the first one was when the babysitter got into the car, and she was like, "Put your fucking seatbelt on." And I'm like,
I was like, "What? Why?"
Okay.
It was almost like they were trying to
make her like a
make it
badass or something.
Americanized. Well, it's almost like in the translation or something. They were trying to like spice it up to make it more American, but it was set in Japan. So that's why I was confused.
You know they don't say
like,
that. You know they don't.
No, I don't think they talk like that. But you know, and there's all kind of twists and turns too. The series is filled with plot twists, many revolving around Kokoro's choices, Malcolm's nightmares, and Aiko's mission. Some of these twists reshape the way the Terminator lore plays out, providing a more complex and layered story than previous installments. So, do you want to talk about a few of the plot twists that were in Terminator Dark Fate? You know,
I don't know if I can name all of them in reference to plot twists, but I'll talk about one that really kind of got me a little bit. Is what's the babysitter's name? Do you remember her name? I can't remember her name.
It's not Aiko.
I'll just say babysitter. I'll just say babysitter to keep it simple. But,
No.
but you'll figure it out later. But I'm gonna go with babysitter right now. So this babysitter, come to find out later on the episode.
Don't call her babysitter. Masaki. Masaki's an babysitter.
The babysitter.
Yeah.
The nanny. You remember that show? You remember that?
Yeah. Love that show.
Masaki come to find out that Masaki is actually a droid. Is actually almost you could say like a good Terminator.
Yeah, she was made by Malcolm.
She was made by Malcolm in the future. Actually fell in love together. Which ultimately her CPU turns into Kokoro. Okay,
like I don't think they were in love or anything. Like I just think they built a relationship.
I think they were, but anyways,
there's things I want to say, but I'm not gonna.
So I'm gonna try to break this down. I'm sure Josh is gonna do a better. You're gonna do a better job at this. But what happens is Malcolm from the future ends up building this machine, makes her into like this babysitter, which is name what's her name again? Masaki.
I told you, Masaki.
It's just kind of coincidental that he makes her like a very good looking Japanese girl. But anyways, so they start seeing each other. He actually kills like 5 people to save her. They go back in time. They go back. Well, hang on, let me condense it. So he goes back in time. I'll let you explain it a lot better later. So he goes back in time and they start working together and they get these jobs where they can actually make an effect into the future, right? And they take the CPU out of her. She sacrifices herself for this. And then 10 seconds later, she comes back online. The droid does after the CPU's taken out, which don't make any sense, by the way. I'm sure you're going to hit on that. We talked about that. And then she is dedicated as the nanny for the kids. While this is happening, he meets somebody else and has these kids. So this droid is now dedicated to watch over the kids. So as you go through the show, you start finding out the plot twist is you think she's just a nanny that's watching over him, and you're wondering why he keeps saying, stay with the kids. You need to stay with the kids. It's because she's programmed to protect those kids. The only thing I don't like about it, the plot twist I don't like, is she goes into full Terminator mode to protect them at one point, but she doesn't do it again. Like she's all like helpless and like, oh, she gets her arm torn off and all this stuff. Like but when one of the kids almost got shot, she goes into like this mode where she is just like karate, jumping around like you cannot touch her. like Super Saiyan Terminator, pretty much, and that plot twist right there, it kind of got me a little bit. I felt like she should have had more, like they should have drip fed us a little bit more instead of just all of a sudden something gets ripped off of her, an arm, and it's like, oh, she's a droid because her arm gets ripped off. And it's like, why didn't they do like things of like she accidentally crushes a vase or something, or she has this strength she doesn't know about? Kind of drip feed it, like you suspect it, and then all of a sudden you know it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel about that plot twist in reference to the babysitter being a droid.
Yeah, and there were some main confusing points which you kind of like hit on, where in order to start up the AI Kokoro, Malcolm had to remove the CPU from Masaki and able to start up the AI. And I'm looking at discussions on Reddit about it, and some people think that he only had to use that so that he could start up that AI, and then he returned it to Masaki, but in the process it wiped all of her memories. And then other people
that would make sense.
Like us, like they didn't ever show that. They just showed him removing it and installing it into this console so that he could start up the AI that he built, and then Masaki comes back online, which doesn't make any sense at all because
no CPU.
no CPU. There's actually a deleted scene in Terminator 2. And if you look at the Terminator 2 director's cut, it's still in there, but they removed the CPU from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is a T-800, I believe, is the type of Terminator he is. And he switches on a switch on it so that he's able to learn and develop and, eventually learn like emotions and things like that. And here's the scene, and it does it just like they do in the anime. This it's a cylinder comes out of his head, and that's what's holding the CPU. And it looked a lot like this one does, in this scene from Terminator 2 that you're showing.
Just like it, yep.
And when they remove it out of him, he totally freezes, like he is not home anymore, because they essentially took his brain out.
There it is.
He's not able to function. A computer's not going to function without this. It's not able to do any logic whatsoever. Yeah. And I don't know like what other tech she might have had inside of her. Some folks are comparing her to like an Eno, which was those little robots that they had somehow in 1997. There was all these robots that were like helper bots, and I guess they might have been developed by Malcolm using tech that he learned from the future. I didn't
think about that. How those robots got started. Like he advanced the tech so much since he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kokoro actually mentioned something about that. But just to kind of throw out there, if you're watching on YouTube right now,
it's a really cool scene. This is a deleted scene,
but he's still talking though.
Well, they're about to take it out.
Oh, there you go. There's the CPU. And it looks like the exact same CPU.
Look, and he's gone. Yeah. It looks like it.
It looks exactly like CPU in the anime. And
really, really cool.
It's out, and he goes completely like he's dead at this point.
Yep, he has no CPU anymore. And so that whole part right there, that one like made me throw my hands up in the air and be like, "What is going on?" And also, granted, we don't really know like how she was designed. Because to my knowledge, there's no female Terminators, which I think would be really cool. Especially in wartime, a female Terminator would be the best one as far as trying to like infiltrate an army of a bunch of horny dudes. Like you take an attractive female Terminator, she could slide right in there. Masaki. Yeah. She could get right in the middle of everybody and then just, turn on the red eyes.
They had a scene where she was trying to protect the kids, and these group of 5 people this is during when Kokoro ended up they started killing any kind of resistance to the machines, right? So Kokoro, so they had 5 people. There was a mini war going on between humans and robots, and the kids were actually I guess these 5 guys saw Masaki as being partial robot and thought she was part of the enemy, like she was the enemy. So they're trying to protect the kids from Masaki, even though Masaki's trying to protect the kids. So they're threatening on killing her and stuff, and that's exactly what happened. In reference to that. So
yeah. And
they was trying to like be nice, like kind of giving her the benefit of the doubt because she was a girl. So if they just did that in that one little part, think about what you're talking about, man. She could use that to her advantage and just wipe out a whole base.
For sure. And it would have been way cooler if she was a decommissioned Terminator that was turned good by Malcolm.
Yeah.
And then she actually has a Terminator mode, which she does in the show, but they don't explain any of it. She'll turn like red eyes and then just destroys everybody. Like she really messed some dudes up. She killed some guys.
Terminator over here.
Yeah, and that was really cool, but they should have played those things into the story better. And I will say one thing I did like about the actual Terminator. I think they did him well. I think that was the best handled thing in the show was the bad guy that came from the future, which was the Terminator.
Yeah.
He was able to blend in and he was able to, be a Terminator. He was badass. He he made a crossbow in his arm that was able to pop out and shoot bolts at people. That was kind of cool. And
it did run out sometimes. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So they
did
look
and
at
it was
detail.
Gory too, because he's flesh over a metal skeleton. So, he actually had to tear away flesh in order to install this into his arm.
Modify his arm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was gross and it was like visceral. And, it was really cool how they kind of made this anime more of an R-rated Terminator version, made it more serious. I like that aspect and I like that direction that they went. This is not an anime for kids whatsoever. This is an adult anime.
It's not. Don't watch it with your kids, even though we all watched Terminator 2 and 1 with our parents.
Had no business watching those when I was younger. Would not let my kid
I thought
do
about
that.
it. I was like, man, I need to let Shep watch Terminator. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen.
Might could watch the TV version, but even then, like,
man, definitely not this Netflix anime and stuff.
But the most of my qualms about it are with the story points and the stuff that's not believable. But as far as the action goes, it had some pretty cool action in it.
Yeah.
Like, what was your favorite kind of action piece?
My favorite kind of action is actually when they're in the cat. They're in the mall. It looks like a mall. They keep saying
they're in Cat Town. They're going to Cat Town.
Going to Cat Town. And when the when that stupid cat, that's why I hate cats, man. But the stupid robot cat starts turning against the little girl and she's chasing after him. The Terminator is going to get her. And he's fighting back with them. And it was just kind of cool, the sequence that they had whenever he's trying to get them. And then that girl is just being a total, like, shooting things at his leg and stuff. And just doing a whole bunch of different things to try to get them out of there. And just flying all over the place. I know she's human and stuff, but I was sitting here like, man, that's a pretty cool sequence. But at that point, I was like, okay, she's got to be Android or something,
Yeah.
And everybody would always work together and help each other out when they was fighting him. Even the girl would throw something and hit him with a pipe or something, even though it wouldn't do anything to the Terminator. So that sequence right there, that fight sequence to kind of get all of them out of there. The kid actually hit his head at one point too. So I thought he was done for. And that was a good little action sequence to me, I feel like.
Yeah, and like now looking back at those action sequences, especially with the older kid who you come to find out, here's a spoiler, and of course, we didn't say this to begin with, but this is going to be a spoiler all through this thing. Of course, we're doing a whole review of the series. And you find out that older boy, I don't remember his name, he's the oldest child of Malcolm.
Kinky or Kinky?
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 Oh, Kiki.
Kinky? Kinky?
Kinky? I don't remember, but he's like this tech wizard. He's able to take robots apart and build whatever he wants. He's a really smart kid, and the Terminator ends up telling him that he was actually sent from the future by him, and which kind of like opens up another bag of stuff of like, then why was that Terminator trying to kill everybody? And I think I remember seeing in the Terminator vision when he's looking at the older boy where he goes into protection mode. So there is something there that they kind of hint to throughout the episodes, but you don't really get it till he explains it in the last episode, I think, is when he goes into it.
Ranka? Yeah, Ranka.
So the Terminator was sent by Ranka from the future.
That's the daughter. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so the Terminator was sent by that kid from the future in order to set off an EMP to take out Kokoro. But Kokoro is the one.
It's the daughter. It's not the son.
Okay.
It's Kenta.
That's it.
There we go.
But Kokoro, the AI, is what stopped all the nukes that first popped off, which originally in the original Judgment Day hit, and like the whole world pops off all of their nuclear supplies.
Who did that? In the original?
In the original, it was Skynet,
That
does all of this. But Kokoro is able to stop it. So she kind of delays Judgment Day.
In Terminator
kind of
Zero,
like where we're at right now. And so that's why I'm not understanding why people are wanting to take her out. Like, what is the whole reason here?
I think because they're worried about Kokoro joining forces with Skynet is the issue. And you're giving them a huge weapon at that point. You're going to have 2v1. Skynet's already enough to deal with.
Yeah.
And he created Kokoro, but you don't want to create a weapon because just like she makes the argument with Malcolm, guys. Malcolm is the creator of all this. He's from the future. He goes back and creates Kokoro, and he has a dilemma with Kokoro. Like, the AI actually becomes conscious, obviously. And the dilemma is she is saying that humans only make weapons. Throughout time, they always make weapons. So why should I obey and save the humankind if you made me to be a weapon to take out Skynet? And I think what changes her mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, what changes her mind is when she looks into and he takes a leap of faith, remember that word faith, and gives her access to everything and sees that he had a love that died and he still continues to fight for humankind and his family and stuff. And that is something that can't be replicated with the machines. And I feel like that's kind of what saved her thought process of leaving it up to faith. That's something that you can't have. It's all about statistics and this is going to happen, all that. But some things just happen coincidentally, kind of like his wife just randomly died. He could not make sense of it because some things just happen and you can't plan on it.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I don't know, like upon exploring it some more, it looks like Malcolm's son, he sends the Terminator back in time to protect his father and help ensure that Kokoro doesn't fully take control. But to me, that wasn't shown or explained well because, the Terminator ends up at the door trying to get Malcolm to come out. And he threatens to kill, what is the son's name again? He threatens to... Kenta. He threatens to kill Kenta in order to get Malcolm to come out of the door. And that all of that gets kind of muddied up, and that's a lot of
Well, what I was originally
a lot of the issue I had.
What I was originally getting at is what you asked about: why is Kokoro bad? Why do they want Kokoro Why do they want to get rid of Kokoro? And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
what I was trying to get at is because of the fate aspect of it. I feel like
Mhm.
the machines don't know how to have faith. They look at more statistics and data.
Yeah.
And some things cannot be on the statistics and data. Now, and so when you're talking about reference what you're talking about with Kenta at the very end, when he has to make a decision to shut Kokoro down or not, Kokoro walks away and leaves it up to him and leaves her fate up to him. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? And she
Yeah.
said it's all because of Malcolm did the same thing to her. He made a decision, left the fate up to her, and now here she is in his shoes doing the
Mhm.
same thing. So do
Mhm.
you think that is what changed her mind, was the faith, or is it something else that you think made her do that?
So there were some key
I say
points.
her because she took the
Yeah.
form of a female. So that's why I say
And
her.
and what's crazy is at first she took the form of 3 different beings.
Yes.
And I don't know if they were trying to make some sort of, comparison to spirit and soul and body, like what they were going for there. I forget what they called each one of them, but then she had to combine into one to, like, I guess, ascend to her truest form. And I'm not going to say that that stuff was not interesting. It's just there was so much going on that I think a lot of the weight of it got lost. And, they're just trying to compact way too much in there. Honestly, this could have been more than 8 episodes, and
I
maybe they
think
could
it could
have
have.
hashed some stuff out a little bit better.
I
You
think the
know,
last episode they could have added all the holes in the gaps.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have the entire city, maybe the entire world has been taken over by these bots. That were taken over by Kokoro. Actually, is the one that
Yeah.
fired these bots up and is doing all of
They
this,
did.
and even killed some humans. In the process.
What happens to all the humans at that point and stuff with Kokoro? Like, do
I guess
they?
they're enslaved.
I see that
Basically.
she's fighting against Skynet. They do show that,
Mhm,
like saying
mhm.
from the rock, but like, is she slaving the humans until Skynet's done? And what happens once Skynet's over? Does Kokoro kind of join with us, or does she kind of like say, "Okay, well, the threat's over. I'm God now."
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically, like, it goes back to that whole thing, which I think is really tired, that we're a cancer on the planet.
yeah,
We're no good for the planet. Like, that's just so dumb.
it
And
is.
I wish they would approach things from, different ways. But not saying that humans don't pollute and stuff, but humans also do a lot of good
They
things.
survive. They
Yeah,
survive.
and you look at even now, I heard this, that there's more greenery on the planet than there was, a long time ago, because of all the,
The
you know,
planning
be,
and stuff.
well, because of all the carbon dioxide like emissions.
Yeah,
That's what plants eat. So, like, to me, like, I think the earth is thriving, and y like,
yeah.
there's different things that humans have done to clean up their mess, which they didn't think was possible. There's so many humanitarian things going on that if Kokoro would just, like,
It,
try to, like, look at all the good that humans have done too, I think she would have changed her mind a lot sooner.
what do you think? What do you think about the perspective of how AI is today, in today's age with AI, compared to these shows now? Because before, when the Terminator first was released in
Mhm.
movies, before this anime, before what we're talking about now, AI was not even thought of, right? It
Yeah,
might have
yeah.
been a little bit. They might have, thought about it in the future, but AI was something fictional. Now we were like head on with
Yeah.
seeing AI. We can click on a button right now and pull up an AI engine and
Yeah.
do stuff, right? And have these possibilities.
Mhm.
How do you think that entails and makes you think when watching this show compared to when you first watched Terminator when you was younger?
Yeah, so to me, the AI in the movies and stuff seemed more nefarious. It was a military program that went haywire and basically turned against its creators. and that whole thing is fun. Basically, the AI became self-aware, like it became
Like
sentient.
Ghost in the Shell. Yeah.
Yeah, it became sentient. It became like self-aware, and it knew the main threat to its existence was humans. So it concluded that it needed to enslave humans, which.
But how do you feel? So you're pretty much saying, just to kind of sum it up, you're saying that it's kind of this. You kind of feel the same way, like it doesn't really matter because you're putting this AI that we're dealing with now not even close to the same level. Still,
No.
On this
So
show.
I think that Kokoro is probably a lot more compassionate. It's like learning compassion. When I think that Skynet is a military program that just knows, like, hey, this is a threat. I need to take out a threat. This is how I can get to that. So, like, I think that Kokoro could be the cure and was actually a great idea. You just don't know how it develops and stuff, and like
But it's
what
just like
direction
humans.
that's going to go.
You don't know how somebody's going to be brought up. You
Yeah,
don't know
exactly.
how this kid or how our kids.
And Malcolm was kind of screwed up too. Like I don't think he was the best example of like a human, because he murdered 5 people to save the robot that he built. Like, golly, dude, you could have tried to talk to people first. Like, I get it, but daggum. Like, he just went
like
off.
rebuild or
He's
something,
a psycho, dude.
I mean, he was going against Terminators himself, when he was 11 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. How do you want? What's the last thing you would talk about? How do you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, like we could just keep on talking.
We could.
Right? That's just where I'm at on it, man. Is like it was a fun romp, but there was many times in it where I found myself going, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing with the story?" And like, I think that you had a different experience with it, and I'm willing to
give it another chance,
and I'm glad about that. Yeah, like I'm glad about that.
Watch a season 2.
Oh, me too. I'm definitely gonna watch this season 2, and I hope that they take it a different direction.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That's what I'm hoping for, because I think the Terminator franchise.
I think Kenta's going to be the enemy. I think Kenta's going to be the enemy.
Maybe so. Yeah, his dad's dead, and
he doesn't know what to think anymore. He doesn't know who's the good guy.
All of that was really sweet, when his dad died, and the things that he said was really sweet and really good. And
he died a very long time though.
Yeah, he's like, you're the best thing I ever made in this life. Yeah.
It's a nail study, and he lasted for like 30 minutes. Had everything he needed to say out there, and then he's like.
Yeah. But, so, yeah. Whoa. That's loud.
It is. Man, I think that's pretty cool. I think you did a great job with Terminator Zero. Do you think you consider that a must watch, though? While we wrap this thing up?
Not really. to me, it's not a must watch. If you're a Terminator fan, and you're a huge Terminator fan, I think you're gonna have more issues with it, much like I did. If you're just a straight up anime fan, I think you're gonna have a great time with it. So,
guys, go enjoy it. Give me your own opinions.
Enjoy it.
Leave a comment down below. Josh, break us down, man. Let's get out of here, dude. Let's play some Call of Duty beta. If you haven't, you got one more day. Play.
There you go.
Like
yeah, man. So thanks everybody for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, tell us your gaming moment. If you want to tell us why we were so wrong about Terminator Dark Fate. I mean, not Terminator Dark Fate. Terminator Zero. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Terminator Zero. You can email us at GGratedChannel@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on Facebook. You can drop a comment in YouTube. You can reach out to us on Spotify, all the platforms. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and let us know how we can get better in the future.
See y'all next week, guys. Peace.
Later.